Hey BookTube, I am here today with just a couple things. One, I really want to talk to you about Ali Smith's seasonal quartet and chat a little bit about that. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this if you've read this seasonal quartet. But I also want to celebrate the fact that I, on the 31st of June, is my 3-year anniversary on BookTube. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy to me. So, yeah, so I want to celebrate that. I really like doing giveaways on my channel. So I'm going to be giving away the whole seasonal quartet. And I will buy a copy of Spring in paperback. So I realize like they won't all be the same, right? And this one of you generously gave to me. Thank you so much. It does have a mark on the back there, but anyway, I'm happy to ship internationally. So if you would like to enter that giveaway, please let me know in the comment section down below. You will need to provide your mailing address. And so I need you to friend me on Goodreads or follow me on Instagram so that you can send me a message with that information. So the reason why I read Ali Smith's seasonal quartet is I was just fascinated by the idea of trying to make a book as contemporary as you possibly can. And I did some reading. I'm just going to hold up Autumn here. This is the first one. So they actually started talking about this, I think, in 2014. And trying to figure out like how could they publish things as quickly as possible. So this whole cover design and this like half sheet here, this lane, which is on the covers of all 4 books in the hardcover edition. It's by the same artist, but it's the lane in different seasons. So these covers were all created in December of 2015. They were the covers, how this was gonna look, all of it, the whole thing. So before she had written anything. And I think that's just, I applaud her ambition and creativity in terms of wanting to create the most contemporary book that she possibly could. Although it does sound like it was intimidating to see the covers for 4 books that you haven't written anything on. And I also want you guys to think about what the world was like in December of 2015. So Trump had just been elected. And I'm not sure as far in the UK if Boris Johnson had been recently elected or not, or if that had happened earlier. But anyway, so in order to do this, they kind of came up with a plan of how they were going to publish the book. So they obviously, like I said, they got all the covers together. And she would bring by the manuscript to the publisher. And then what I read was that usually they would spend a month proofreading any other Ali Smith book, right? Or any author for that matter. There'd usually be a month to proofread. They condensed that down to 3 days. Okay. And then the whole process of publishing the book. So from the time Ali Smith would bring the manuscript to the publisher to when it was actually available for you to buy would be 6 weeks. Now, of course, if you're a book reviewer, that's really challenging because you don't really have time to read it in advance. Like it's just a difficult situation for book critics. They did do kind of these like launch parties for the first the first three. I think the final ones, summer, it was all digital or virtual, excuse me. So let's just start with now. So one of the things that connects all four of these books together, and they're not really, I mean, they're interconnected. There are characters that overlap between the books, but I actually didn't even realize or remember that until I read it on some of these some of the information about the seasonal quartet. So like there's a character in this one, Daniel, who's an older gentleman, World War II vet, and he is friends. I think she lives nearby, or maybe she's his neighbor. I'm not sure exactly, but her name's Elizabeth, and she was born in 1984. So there's a big difference between the two of them, but it's a little bit about their friendship. Now Daniel apparently I mean I remember this, but he appears. I just didn't connect that it was the same Daniel. I didn't really. Yeah, I didn't really understand what was going on. So Daniel is in summer as well. There's a character named Art in winter. Art also appears in summer. So, but I didn't remember that by the time I was finished with all of it. I did not connect the dots to those people. So, and I wish I had. Also, the other thing is that at the beginning of each book, there's sort of this list of quotes. And she is always inspired by, there's always a Shakespeare play. With Autumn, it's The Tempest. There's usually a Dickens reference or some kind of Dickens inspiration. And then another author or artist. For this one, they discuss in the book 60s pop artist Pauline Boty, B-O-T-Y. Anyway, but so the thing that makes it contemporary is the UK votes to leave the European Union, right? So this is dubbed the first Brexit novel. I'm not sure that I'm not sure Ali Smith ever actually uses the word Brexit in the book. And it's all kind of like, it's a little bit in the background, right? Like there's one point where Elizabeth, who's the younger character, she says, or her mother says, you know, I'm just tired of people being accepting the fact that they're being lied to, like believing the lies that people are telling them. And I thought that was really powerful, not just for people who live in the UK, but also for people who live in America. So anyway, so that's Autumn. Okay. So this one was a little inspired by, it starts off, it was the worst of times. It was the worst of times. So we've got a Tale of Two Cities reference there. There's also Keats' poem Ode to Autumn. And then The Tempest. The quote at the front is from The Tempest by Shakespeare. So again, this book, it was good. It was interesting. And it was very interesting to read something so current. And it came out this was released in October of 2016. All right, so then we move on to Winter. This came out in 2017. So, I mean, the time between when Autumn was released and when this book came out is very short. Very, very short. This book is probably the one that I remember the least, which kind of sucks because it's inspired in part by A Christmas Carol. And it's also the Shakespeare play is Cymbeline. And there's also, some references to Barbara Hepworth, Muriel Spark. So anyway, again, just going on with that theme. This is about a family gathering together at Christmas. The matriarch of the family has this ghost of a child's head following her around all the time, or it's a vision of a child's disembodied head, which is quite creepy. But yeah, this just did not stay with me. It did not resonate or really connect with me. And immigration is an issue. I would say immigration is the issue, the underlying issue, or sometimes it's more to the forefront. But that's really the thing that stands out in all four books is talking about immigration. So that's winter, like I said, which unfortunately I don't remember very well. So then spring is published in, I believe, March of 2019. Okay, you can just see, like, I find it amazing that Ali Smith, like, what a time in history to try to be writing the most contemporary novel that you possibly can. There's a troubled TV director in this. There is a woman who is a custody officer at, it's called an immigration removal center. It was meant to house people for 3 days, and there have been people living there for years. And there's a young girl, Florence, who is desperately searching for her mother. She's a very, very smart little girl. This one had references to Pericles by Shakespeare, Catherine Mansfield, Rilke, Charlie Chaplin, as well as a short story, I believe, by Charles Dickens. And I liked the relationship between Brittany and Florence in this, and I think this is the best book of the four. Again, there's that beautiful lane there. So yeah, I think this is the one where the immigration issue, the refugee crisis, is just right in your face a lot of the time in the book. And so I found that really, really powerful. And then we get to summer. So summer was done entirely under lockdown, which I do think is interesting. It is the only book, as far as I know, that after she submitted it, the Black Lives Matters protests exploded, and so she took the manuscript back and included a reference to George Floyd and what happened to him. So, but again, my problem with summer, and I realize, like, Ali Smith does not know, like, she does not know what the future holds. She does not know that there's going to be a vaccine. But it feels like this book spends too much time in the past. If it's trying to be a contemporary book, especially during such unprecedented times, it's spending too much time looking backwards rather than what is happening right now. And I'm, I will admit that I'm a bit confused at times, because sometimes the main family in this is in lockdown, and the next thing I know, they meet some people and they go off to another town or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, I didn't think that's how lockdown worked. And I don't know the rules of lockdown, because we didn't have lockdown here in the United States except in certain cities, right? So, I mean, I was frustrated about that, because I really wanted her to talk about, I don't even think COVID is named, although certainly there's, again, underlying references to it. So yeah, this is about a family, a mom and her two kids, both teenagers. She started writing this book at the end of January, the beginning of February of 2020. And so for the fact that it came out in August of 2020 is just really, really wild. The influences for this book, are, let's see, David Copperfield by Dickens. Oh, I can't remember which play. Virginia Woolf. And there's lots of film stuff in here. Lots of snippets of film. Tons of stuff about Einstein in here. Yeah, so it's an interesting book. I think maybe there was just so much happening that Allie Smith got overwhelmed and wasn't quite sure where to go. But at any rate, I realize those of you who love these books or desperately wanted to read them or are huge Allie Smith fans, you probably already have them. But nonetheless, if you would like to own all four, and again, spring will definitely be included in that, let me know. But I would love to hear your thoughts about the series. I really think if you lived in the UK as these books were being published, you'd probably get a lot more out of them than I did. Or if you're someone who really follows like international and British news, then yes, you would probably see more of what she's trying to do in these four books. But yeah, so I look forward to your comments in the comment section down below. Again, if you'd like to enter the giveaway for all four books, please let me know. And yeah, BookTube, I will talk to you soon. Remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and thank you for being with me on BookTube. It's a real privilege and a real blessing in my life.